last couple months, I've been using the Infinite Speed V1, and it's a great budget pad, but it had a lot of drawbacks. Thankfully, InfinityMice has released their new Control and Speed V2s alongside the Infinite Shogun, and I'm confident that they have improved on all of these previous issues. The Shogun comes with this really cool collab design with TheRealKenzo, while the Speed V2 and the Control V2 come in black, purple, and pink. All of these pads come in two sizes, 490 by 420 millimeters or 490 by 490 with a soft or mid bases. I received all three of these non-textured smooth pads in 490 by 490 with a 4mm custom IPU base with the amazing InfinityMice logo. It's a little hard to pick up on camera, but it is just absolutely amazing in person. All of these pads thankfully come flat packaged and all feature this really high quality, low profile stitching that is really consistent and competes with some of the artisan pads that I've seen. So far, all of the QC on all of these copies is amazing. A lot of the issues that I had with fraying or slow spots and humidity has actually been improved or resolved with these pads. There's been a major development between the V1 and V2s as the Control, which is the purple pad, and the Speed, which is black, feel much more premium, while the Shogun has this really smooth yet almost like sort of slow speed to it. However, it is smoother and faster than the Infinite Control, which has a little bit more of a texture, making it a little bit slower but not quite as muddy, if that makes any sense. The Control V2 feels a lot closer to a QCK or radar style of control pad. The Infinite Speed V2 feels a lot more premium than the V1, with a similar speed as the Coruscant, but not quite as smooth of a glide. This is sort of because while it is a smooth surface, it does sort of have a slight, I don't want to call it texture, but when you rub your fingers on it, it's not as closely knit as the Shogun, for example, which feels a lot smoother, yet it's still slower. The Infinite Speed and Infinite Control are both $35 or $40 depending on the size, while the Shogun is $50 for both sizes, meaning that there are a lot of sizes and options as well as price points for everyone. I love to see companies that have a lot of these customization options when it comes to colors as well as bases, and then also pad sizes. It's really great to see, considering how there are other companies such as Artisan who tend to sort of keep to the same few sizes and few colorways, and I'm really thankful that companies like InfinityMice and X-raypad especially are sort of coming in and providing a lot of customization and different options to absolutely everybody depending on what they want. If you're looking for my recommendation on what skates to use for these pads, I can definitely recommend the X-raypad Jades, as the speed properties pair really nicely with all of the fabric and just style of pads that InfinityMice makes. I did try out some core pads and Tiger Ices. Tiger Ices felt okay because they're a little bit faster, but I found with core pads, they were just too rough to use with the surfaces, as the Control and the Speed tend, like I continue to say, sort of have almost like a slight almost texture to it. You can really feel the stitching, while on the Shogun it feels really smooth. The final thing to keep in mind if you're looking at picking up some of these pads is that both the Shogun as well as the Control pad are both meant to be control pads. However, like I sort of was saying earlier, there's two different styles. I would sort of choose based on that preference as well as price range. Personally, I would probably have to go with the Control. I just really like how it feels in game. While the Shogun has a smoother surface, but for control pads, I'm not quite as big of a fan for a smoother surface. I'd rather have a little bit of texture or feedback while playing. I know that this is going to be a bit of a shorter video, but all three of these pads have been in rotations since the day I got them, and I genuinely love all of InfinityMice's products. I think that they absolutely crushed it with these newer V2 batches. I think the base is a lot better sticking to your desk, and the stitching is much more solid and consistent. While the V1s had good low profile stitching, it's just not the same. InfinityMice really did step up their game with this, and I'm really happy to see these budget options being introduced into the market. If you're on a budget, $35, $45, then InfinityMice is really the company to go to. I don't think there's any reason that you should be buying things like a Zowie GSR or some of the GameSense pads, just because I really do prefer InfinityMice. However, I will say I recently got the Radar 4mm, and it is pretty close to being in a consistent rotation along with the control. However, it just sort of depends on the day and what I want to use. They do feel really similar. The only thing I would sort of consider if you're between these two pads is just look at the price, think about what you want, watch your reviews, and come back. I hope you enjoyed the video. My next review is going to be on the Owlset AX by Vaxi, and I'm hoping to get that out sometime soon, although we'll sort of see as my schedule is constantly changing. Anyway, have a good rest of your day.
Boom, 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 day and night. What? I toss and turn, I keep stressing my mind. What? I love the peace, but see, I don't attain.